What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. My name is Erik Vasquez, and joining me on the line is my podcasting partner in crime. Yes, that rhymes. Coming straight from the Berg, she's none other than Shay Hickson. Shay, how are you, my friend? How's your week going?
I'd be having a better week if it wasn't, 900 degrees outside
That's true.
every single day. Like it is.
That's
Oh,
true.
it's too hot.
It is hot. I finally, everyone, close to the age, maybe everyone over the age of 25 who has to pay their own bills and knows what it's like to pay utilities, knows what it's like when you first have to turn on that air conditioner and you just feel that electricity bill rise.
You hear the cash register going.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. It's like you can't avoid it. You have to turn on the air conditioner, but you just oh, it sucks. It sucks being an adult.
It sucks, but I'd rather, not pass out of heat exhaustion.
That's true.
I'm very sensitive when it comes to heat, so I'm like, you know what? It is what it is,
Yeah.
I guess. But hopefully it's gonna be done soon, but I doubt it.
It's summer. It's just literally we just started summer, so I don't think it's gonna be done anytime soon.
They took the first day of summer a little too literally.
Yeah.
They stretched it out for the whole week, and it's like, all right, you can stop now. Like,
Seriously.
fast forward to the fall, please.
I don't mind it already, just like I said, that electric bill. But anyway, for those of you that are listening for the very first time, welcome in. Hopefully you get comfortable and you have your snacks ready. This is a professional wrestling podcast where Shay and I answer the questions that you want us to answer about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling, whether it's WWE, AEW, and this week we have a pretty big show because we have a lot of questions for both WWE and AEW, plus predictions for WWE Night of Champions, which is still happening. It's still going to happen in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, so it's definitely a show to look forward to.
In some way, yes. I guess.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute because I think we do actually have a question about it. So we'll save those opinions for.
Well, let me ask you before we get started. I was doom scrolling through TikTok one night and I came across this TikTok from a podcast, Before the Bell podcast, and they had a very interesting theory about R-Truth that I wanted to get your thoughts on, and that's the fact that R-Truth may have multiple personalities, and for the longest time little Jimmy was one of those multiple personalities that was full of fun and everybody was dancing, having a good time. What's up, R-Truth? And now Ron Killings is the new personality that has taken over, and that's why he says I'm driving now. So what are your thoughts about Ron Killings possibly having multiple personalities?
It honestly makes sense because I kind of noticed kind of what they noticed too on that like backstage segment a couple weeks ago where he's like, okay, you all can't talk at once. I'm
Right.
like, okay, no normal person is gonna say that. So I'm like, all right, they're doing the like this kind of multiple personality disorder kind of thing. But I think it's interesting. It would help and it's tough because it'd be very easy to say, oh well, that justifies him all of a sudden doing a complete 180 in his personality because he used to be like the quintessential comedy relief of everything he did in wrestling, and now all of a sudden he's a super serious guy. You could have just said, oh well, Cena just pushed him to that point, which that could have been valid. They honestly could have just went that route and said, I was tired of being pushed around and this is it now, and that would have been believable. But this also adds some intrigue to it too, in a way, because now you can say like, oh, well, you got like little Jimmy, you got R-Truth, you got Ron Killings, but then it's like, okay, well, who else does he have then if he has at least 2 or 3 other personalities? So it's like, okay, well, it was an interesting take on it, I think, and I think that'd be kind of interesting to play off as the rest of his I don't know what his contract or anything is, but for as long as he's still in WWE, it would be very interesting to see them try and explore some of the other different personalities other than just R-Truth and Ron Killings. Maybe they can do some other things with it. Maybe they are planning on doing stuff with it. I'm not sure, but
and And this past Friday on SmackDown, or the week before, yeah, he had a little back to back backstage face to face with Aleister Black, and kind of interesting. Aleister Black would be a perfect guy to kind of get those multiple personalities to come to the forefront, being that he's a master of the dark arts sort of way, and I feel like they could do something interesting with that.
Yeah, he's a master of the mind games, so on paper it looks very odd, but I feel like in like practice it can work if done correctly, and I feel like they hopefully could do it correctly. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do with him, because yeah, this is just it's nice to see because you never really thought you were going to see it. You just saw R-Truth as like the comedic relief for so long that it's like, yeah, they're never gonna stray away from that. They'll just, do the same old because it keeps working, but I'm
Right.
glad that they kind of turned it on its head a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be very interesting. And I'm glad that they were able to kind of do away with the negative press surrounding R-Truth and maybe develop a storyline that's going to be very interesting for the time being.
Yeah, and maybe stop insulting your fans' intelligence by thinking it was the plan all along, but
Yeah, well,
that's never gonna clearly
well,
it is what it is.
Well, like we said, we have a lot of questions to answer about what's going on in WWE and AEW, and that's what we do best here on this podcast. So why don't we get to it? What kind of questions do we have this week?
All right, let me pull them up here. So we're gonna start with Mom's questions this week. So she was listening to Busted Open, as she normally does when she's driving around town, and they were talking about how there's only one person that could believably beat Mercedes Mone for any of these titles, and she tried to have me guess, and I said Stat because, of course, I said Stat, and she was like, no, it was close. They think that Willow Nightingale will be like the one that can actually beat Mercedes and have it be believable. So Mom would like to know, would that make sense? And if not, who could beat Mercedes? Well, that's the fun question, because who can beat Mercedes? Well, the worst part is that it clearly doesn't seem to matter if Mercedes wants to lose to somebody. As long as they don't want her to lose to somebody, she's not gonna lose. Clearly, she has 6 belts now, I think.
Yes. I'm thinking that Toni Storm might be the one to give her first loss.
I hope so.
I'm thinking All in Texas is where she suffers her first loss. Now, who could beat her to take all those titles off of her? That's a totally different question. I want to know how that would work. You would have to basically get in contact with 5 other companies to be like, hey, are we all on the same page that if she loses, she drops all of your belts at the same time to this different person? So that's kind of interesting how they would work that out. But I honestly think the first person to give Mercedes Mone her first loss in AEW is Toni Storm, and that's going to happen at AEW All in Texas.
I mean, I would agree with you on that one. I'm sure we'll talk about it, obviously, more when we have to do the predictions. But I feel like instead of taking them all off her at once, I feel like if I had the magic pencil, I would have her, like, let's just hypothetically, like, pretend that this whole match with Toni is not existing right now, just for the sake of this continuity. So, say she finally loses one of the belts, and she just one. I don't know which one, because, like I said, I've lost track of what they are, but she loses one of them, and she's like, oh, well, that's fine, I still have 5. And then she loses another one. And the more she loses, the more she starts to slowly kind of like lose it a little bit.
Yeah, like a descent into madness.
Yeah, and then she finally loses that last title, and she just goes absolutely ballistic on whoever like beats her for it, which could be like, we'll just say Willow in this case, and she just goes absolutely bananas on her. And then I think that would be rather interesting, because it's just like, oh, is this going to be the belt that's finally going to make her snap? Or, oh, is this finally going to be what like pushes her over the edge? And it's just like, oh, we're just kind of like waiting in anticipation for her to finally snap on that last loss, and just when it looks like she's going to hold on to that last title for a little while longer, it just slips through her fingers and she just has an absolute like crash out over it. So I would think that would be very interesting. But I would agree with you that I feel like her first loss doesn't have to be for a title,
Right.
because clearly you could take your pick, but I feel like just for this sake, I really hope they don't fall for the trap and just have Tony beat her, because what what good would it be to have Mercedes with all of those titles, including the women's title? It's just like, at that point, then you're kind of, unfortunately, I feel like, trying to think of how to put it. If you have Mercedes win the women's title, you're pretty much consolidating your entire women's division and what, like, segments and whatever into one singular person. So it'd be really difficult to kind of have. I mean, they could do it. I just think it would be a little messy to have multiple storylines with different titles that she has. Like,
Yeah.
we need to have a program for the TBS title. We need to have a program for the women's world title. We need to have a program with the four, I don't know, 4 other titles she has, or the 5 other titles she has. It's like, it could get really messy really quick. And unfortunately, we have seen AEW's track record when trying to juggle multiple storylines at once. It does not always work. So I would just have Tony beat her clean and just get it over with, because then you don't really have that pressure anymore. I
Right.
feel like then, as a creative like team, then you're like, all right, now we have a little more freedom, because the loss is out of the way. We don't have to listen every week of who's going to be worthy to beat her. Is it going to be this? Now that person doesn't make sense. Okay, she loses. She still has her 5 titles. She can still say that. She's just like, well, yeah, I lost, but I still have all these belts. So did I really lose?
Right.
And then you can do a little bit more with it, instead of just having that, like, hanging over your head at all times. So I would like them to just rip the Band-Aid off and just have her lose and then move on with it.
Yeah.
And after Tony, I feel like if we had to, like, I mean, I guess for the framing of Mom's question, if we'll just say, like, the TBS title was the first belt she had to lose, just for the sake of AEW programming, I feel like I could see Willow beating her for it. Depending on whatever the hell they're doing with Stat right now, because I think we have another question about that, so I'll save it. But if they can bring back the magic with her again, it could be Stat. But I feel like, as of right now, just momentum wise and popularity wise, if she had to lose the TBS title, I would think Willow would probably be the one to do it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be, like, out of the realm of possibility.
Right. It feels like Willow's kind of carrying the flag as, like, the main woman for AEW. She's like Team AEW, and she's always the one front and center going up against the Death Riders, who are still trying to take over and poison AEW. But I feel like you said, it would make sense if she was the one to maybe take away the TBS title from Mercedes. But I think you're right as well when you say that maybe it's time to rip off that Band-Aid and have Tony get the win at possibly, most likely, AEW All In. That's my prediction, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. So all right, we'll remember that for All In. We got a couple more weeks to figure out the rest of that card, though, because God knows there's going to be 25 matches. That, unfortunately, I feel like it's going to be a episode of its own. I don't think we're going to have to ask questions with that one.
Yeah, no questions for that one for sure.
Please no. Well, and funny enough, we will move right into what I was talking about earlier. Does Stat join the Death Riders? Mom doesn't hope, because in her opinion that ship sailed. I don't think so. Not just because I don't want it to happen, because the Death Riders are just dying a slow, painful death. I don't think her being there would make a lot of sense, because I feel like this could bring out the edgier side of Stat again, but I don't think or hope it's going to turn her into a full, like, heel again, because it wasn't bad. Her heel run originally wasn't bad. It was just so short, because they just had to give us Whiplash, because we had to make a U-turn, because the storyline would have been better if she was a good guy again. And so I don't know why I still don't really know why they did that the way they did, but it is what it is. But I feel like, I think they just need to play into what Moxley was telling her, of, like, don't let anybody tell you who you are and, like, what you can do, essentially. So I think it's just gonna be more of like an edgier side of Stat because we've seen the happy-go-lucky Stat, we've seen the funny Stat, we've seen we've seen the bad guy Stat. I feel like there's still that extra facet of just she can be like more or less like an anti-hero kind
Right.
of character where yeah, she can be funny if she wants to be, but there's no time for that right now. We just need to like kick somebody's teeth in. I feel like Stat could easily do that, which is what I hope they're gonna be doing because I feel like if they would have anybody join the Death Riders at this point, I feel like it's way too late because inevitably the I don't know, like the big momentum of the if you want to call it that, the Death Riders as we know it's gonna hopefully end it all in. So wouldn't really make sense to have anybody else join because if essentially that's going to mark the beginning of the end for them, then they don't really need to be recruiting anybody else.
Hmm.
So that's what I think is going to happen. God only knows if that's like ideally what they're thinking too, but I feel like it's just going to bring out a more edgier side of Stat, I
Yeah.
think.
The only interesting aspect of the whole thing to me is how would she be able to work with the other woman of the Death Riders, Marina Shafir, who's kind of strikes fear in the heart of everybody she kind of gazes upon. So it's kind of like, can she work together with Marina Shafir? Would that be able to work if Stat was to join the Death Riders? It almost kind of reminds me of Raven's flock when he would kind of take in the ones that were kind of down on themselves, because like Moxley is kind of like you said earlier trying to tell Stat to not let anybody define who she is, you know, and she's kind of downtrodden on herself. So
Yeah.
Moxley kind of swoops in and kind of plays head games, you know, and it kind of becomes the savior. So I kind of do like aspects of it, but I don't know. Like you said, if the plan is to have Hangman defeat Moxley at All In, it kind of doesn't make sense to add somebody new to the Death Riders camp. But this does seem kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, it's there's plenty of possibilities that we could see. I mean, the whole Marina Shafir interaction would be very interesting to see, I think. I agree with you there. At this rate, though, I just kind of want them to do something with Stat because, oh, I don't know, she's your powerhouse of your division, or supposedly she's supposed to be, but I
Hmm.
feel like they're kind of forgetting that right now, and I'm not sure why. So, it'd be nice to, get her to actually wrestle again instead of just these backstage promos where she's beating up Wheeler Yuta, even though he deserves it. But still, I'd like her to actually beat somebody up in the ring where she's supposed to be. But time will tell.
For sure.
Alrighty, so we're just gonna stay on the topic of AEW here. So Mom is excited to see Kota Ibushi again. Obviously, he's very talented, and I feel like he's actually healthy this time.
Yeah, I
So
was
maybe
just
he'll
I was
help.
gonna say, yeah, he looks a lot better this go around than he did his last stand. That's actually something I tweeted when he made his return to AEW. I was like, he looks a lot better this go around than his last stint. So hopefully it flourishes. It's just again kind of interesting that they did this so soon to All In, because it's like we got Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada coming up, but then you're like, I kind of want to see Okada and Ibushi now. So it's like,
Yeah.
damn, like how do we mix that in? Like how do we make that work? It's very interesting for sure.
Yeah, I was definitely not expecting it. I'll give them props because it
Yeah,
shocked me when he came back, so I'll take it.
for sure.
Um, but yeah, it's like let's just how about let's just pretend that this is his first time being in AEW and the first run didn't happen. It's a shame because it was just like I get why they needed him to be there at that time, but
Right.
god damn, he wasn't even at 50%. He was at like what, 30, 25
Yeah,
maybe? Like
he was still hurting.
he was on death's door essentially, so I'm glad that we finally get to see the fully healed and this is what we waited for Kota Ibushi other than whatever we saw last time. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Wondering if maybe him and Kenny may play into the whole battle for AEW thing. Who knows? Um, that remains to be seen. But yeah, I think that'll be pretty cool to see Ibushi back and for him to show everybody why they brought him in the first place and why him coming back isn't a mistake. Because there's some idiots out there somewhere being like, oh, great, we're just gonna have another like half-assed run. It's like, oh, I don't think you guys have any idea what you're actually gonna be in for. But I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a really, really good time.
I think so.
All right. So this one's just kind of stating the obvious that Tony Storm's promos kill Mom because she's always so funny. I think the thing that always gets me with her is that you just genuinely have no idea what she's gonna say until she says it, and then you just have that split second of sitting there going, "I can't believe she really said that. She
Yeah.
really just said that." Like, and that's just that unpredictability that is so funny that it's like, yeah, she doesn't even need to wrestle up until All In because all she has to do is just stand in front of a camera with a microphone and no one's gonna like bat an eye because she's just that compelling of a talker and just that compelling of a promo person that it's just like, oh god, what crazy shit's she gonna say? Is she gonna be actually earnest this time, or is she gonna like think you're gonna like reel you in a little bit and then say something really wild? Or is she just gonna be so off the wall the entire time? The possibilities with her are just they're just endless. And it's so entertaining to watch every
Yeah.
single time.
Yeah, I think she's one of the best talkers in AEW in the sense that the crazy shit that comes out of her mouth can sell tickets to matches. And I think that's her strongest suit is that with this character, she can say anything that comes to her mind and we know it to be crazy Tony Storm. And again, she's doing a great job at selling the match that is coming up. And that's why her match against Mercedes Mone is one of the more anticipated matches for All In is because of Tony's off the wall way of selling the match through her promos. Her promos have been top notch. I love the whole, she kind of reminded me of Carmen Sandiego with the outfit that she had on. So she just knows how to play a character and she knows that the off the wall stuff that she says and stuff that comes out of her mouth is one way that she can sell tickets, and the more she gets comfortable, the more crazy stuff she's going to end up saying for sure.
Yeah, and it's like that's why we just need her to keep that title for a little while longer. Just honestly, even if she didn't have the title, she could just stand in front of a camera with a microphone and everyone's going to pay attention anyway. She just has that star quality that very few possess, or I feel like just very few would be able to pull off. I think it's more the phrase, because on paper, her character sounds so wild and it's like there's no way someone can actually get that to work and not make it seem like too cartoony or too like over the top or like dumb. She just makes it work. If you try putting that on, I guarantee you 9 out of 10 other women, it would not work at all.
For
it
sure.
Would fail spectacularly, but just the timing couldn't have worked better, and lightning struck at the right time, and this is what we got now, and I'm certainly not complaining about it.
For sure.
Alrighty, so Mom's last question. It's a very simple question, and yet we can't seem to find the answer for it. Why is Goldberg back? He seems to think, and I genuinely think everybody would agree with this, a wasted spot on that Saturday night's main event card.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm worried. I'm honestly worried he's going to go out there. He's going to go out there and embarrass himself.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
No, I don't think he's going to win.
You better not.
No, I don't think he's going to win. I'm just worried that he's going to go out there and, because his last couple of outings weren't that great. They weren't that great. His outing against Bray Wyatt, I mean, obviously was a sore spot because he ended up winning and beating, and then obviously that famous match against The Undertaker that nobody was a fan of. So I'm kind of, again, I am worried that Goldberg is going to go out there and hopefully not embarrass himself. That's just my worry. And thankfully, either way, he says that this is his last match and that he's hanging it up after that. So at least we have that.
And that's what makes this match even more confusing. Like, if this is clearly, supposedly, his last match, why are you making it a title match that you know he's going to lose? Like, none of this makes sense. Not a single thing about this match or him coming back makes sense. We don't need it. I don't know who wants it. Like, it's just so stupid to me because you could have so many other things on that card, and this is the best you can do. Poor Gunther, like, poor guy has to, let's be honest, and this isn't even being like mean, it's the truth. He's gonna have to carry this match for however long
for sure.
And he's gonna have to make Goldberg actually look good, which, give him a raise. He's gonna have to put in overtime to do that, because I think, and it's sad that we agree that that's pretty much the bare minimum of this match, is just please don't fucking embarrass yourself if you're Goldberg.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sad that that is like the lowest expectation you have for this match, is just please don't make an absolute fool out of yourself. And if that's the case, then this match shouldn't even exist, and yet here it is. So whether we want it or not, we're getting it. And yeah, I wish I knew the answer as to why this is a thing, but clearly someone thinks it's a good idea, and maybe they owe him one. I'm not sure what they owe him, because what was that one stat that, like, his last, like, 4 matches, 3 of them, I think, have been title matches, if I remember correctly. He's had multiple title matches, but my thing is that he's lost a good majority of those.
Right.
So in what world does he believably have a, like, claim to this title? Like, realistically, in the real world, if this happened, Gunther would have been like, yeah, you're an absolute joke, get out of here, because you have no reason to be in a title match other than just, I want to be. That's literally what this is. It's just, I want it to be a title match, and it's like, sure, why not?
Well, credit to Gunther, on Monday, he cut one hell of a promo selling the match. I thought his promos have been phenomenal, and he really sold the hell out of this match, made it seem like it's a big deal, like he's not taking it lightly. So at least we have that. You know, I want to know, is it going to go 3 minutes? Is it going to go 5 minutes? Are we going to go 10 minutes? What's the time frame looking like? How long can Goldberg go in there without getting gassed up?
No, that's not a long time.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Hopefully, like, as soon as it's over, it's gonna be like one of those things where it's like, finally it's over, we can move on to the next thing. We don't have to worry about this anymore.
Literally, like, thank God, let's just go to something else, please.
Right.
Yeah, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. That's what it is. It's just stupid. I don't know why it exists, but we're getting it anyway. Okay, so that was all of Mom's questions. So, Mom, thank you as always.
Thank you, Mom.
All right, so let's move on to Mike's. All right, so we knew we were going to have to talk about this. He wants us to talk about Cena's pipe bomb because he thought it was something else and loved his line at the end. Yeah, it was great. I feel like I already saw, like, the discourse of was it better than the original, and it's like, you're never gonna top Punk's. Like,
yeah,
it's just, that's never gonna happen. So it's like, don't even bother. But his was really good, though. It was just, once you kind of got that sense of what he was doing, it's like, oh, this is where we're going. That's what we're gonna do. All right, fine. Like, I feel like people have kind of been wanting that to happen too,
right?
But just never would have thought it was going to happen because, well, good guy Cena would never say anything like any of that stuff, but heel Cena sure can, and it's just like, this is the kind of shit we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
With Cena's turn. Like, this is the kind of, we didn't want any Travis Scott bullshit, Rock bullshit, we wanted this. And this is what I've been saying the entire time, that him and Punk was going to be the big money match. This was going to be, hopefully, what draws Cena kind of back to the light and realizes the error of his ways. And it's just a shame we had to go through the whole other shit for the last few months to get it. But you know what? I'm glad we finally got it.
Yeah, I think what Cena did was masterful. It's not very easy to take a promo like the pipe bomb promo and recreate it to make it your own. But I think Cena did a wonderful job at doing that and gave us moments where we were like, wow, he really went there. I think the subliminal stuff with mentioning names like Matt Cardona,
Claudio.
Claudio, and Nick Nemeth, I thought that was very interesting. Once you figured out why he said those names and what those names symbolize, you're like, oh, okay, now he's operating on a different level. I think, again, to me, it's this. I'm always gonna be a fan of this heel run, no matter what anybody says, because to me, it's the question of, is this the real John Cena? You know, is this the way John Cena really feels? Because he knew himself at the genius level that he is. He knew that he had to play the part if he wanted to get ahead, and he wanted to be the poster child. He had to grit his teeth and sign all the autographs and kiss all the babies and shake all the hands and be the ultimate good guy. But is this the Cena that we were supposed to get? Is this the real John Cena? So that's why this heel turn is always going to be sort of kind of special in my eyes. But this is the moment where it got really real, you know, where he can kind of see that the brain is moving at a different momentum when it comes to this heel turn. I'm just excited for this match on Saturday with CM Punk. It's one of my favorite rivalries of all time, and this is one of the bright spots of this heel run from John Cena.
Yeah, I completely agree. The one thing I would have changed, and I know that it wouldn't have went over well, so I know why it never happened, but it would have been so hilarious if Cena said, "Oh, hi, Cole Cabana."
Yeah.
That would have been. I'm sitting there thinking, is he going to actually say this guy's name? Because if he does, oh my God, and he didn't, I was a little disappointed because I thought that would have been kind of funny, but I'm sure that was probably brought up and vetoed rather quickly, which, you know what, fair, but we can dream. That would have been hilarious.
For sure. I would have definitely been. The whole promo, I was just like, oh my God, he's really going there. And then, you know, so for him to do something like that, it would have been over the top. It would have been like, we got to shut everything down. This man is operating at a different level.
I think Punk would have risen from the dead at that point.
Yeah.
Off that table and like tackled him off the turnbuckle. But, oh well. It was still good on it by itself, though.
For sure.
I can't complain. That just would have been a very interesting little extra thing to throw in there, but that's just me. Okay, why did that not? Technology, one moment.
Uh-oh.
Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so MJF stealing Mystico's mask and wearing it. Fans waiting for him at the hotel. Is it too far or is it good heat?
I mean, that's a tough question. Is it too far? Yes, I think it is too far to wait for somebody, you know, to wait for a wrestler, you know, and threaten his life. But it is good heat. You're not going to hear MJF complain about getting somebody so riled up and so angry that they were waiting for him at the hotel. Because ultimately, that's how you know you're doing your job correctly. You know, when you can elicit that sort of emotion, it's just very weird that people operate that way, that they don't see that this is all part of the show. So it's a dangerous line. It's a dangerous line because this is, it's just different. When you go to places like Mexico and Puerto Rico, they take this shit very seriously. You know, they take their good guys and their bad guys very, very seriously. So it's always interesting. I know MJF applauds it because he realizes he's doing his job to the best of his ability, and it's working when you can get people that way. People just really are very passionate about professional wrestling. So it's a very interesting question. If it's too much, to me it's too much, but I'm sure MJF welcomes that and more of it.
Yeah, I feel like the problem is that it doesn't matter if it was too far or like good heat, because when it comes to the fans, that line is so blurred that I don't really feel like, I mean, you're never going to get a straight answer anyway, but even if there's one thing that happens where you're just like, okay, well, they took that way too far, there's always, for whatever reason, going to be that contrarian, like, section of the wrestling fan base where it's like, no, it wasn't too far. That's like, so to some people, too far is good heat, and to some people, good heat's too far. So it's just like, there's never going to be a 100% objective answer when it comes to that. It's just going to always be down to personal preference, and wrestling fans' preferences are so skewed that you might have thought it was too far. I might have thought it was, oh, well, no, it was good because X, Y, and Z. But you would have been like, well, no, I thought it was too far because X, Y, and Z. So it's just, it's just, you said a very fine line,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I feel like even though the line exists, I just feel like fans blur it so much that it's still kind of there, but not enough where it's just like the end all say all, I guess. If that makes sense.
It just they take it way more seriously. Everywhere else around the globe, you realize that professional wrestling hotspots like Mexico, Japan, Puerto Rico, you realize they take it way more seriously than we do in the States. Maybe we've been so desensitized and it's kind of been so watered down that we just don't get it.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like that's pretty much what it is. It's just the American view on wrestling is so different than, like you said, Puerto Rico, than Japan, than Mexico. It's just, to us, or some people, ripping a mask off a Mexican wrestler or luchador is just like, okay, well, that's not really a big deal. But to Mexican wrestling fans, that's just like the ultimate sign of disrespect. You're the devil for doing that. So it's like, it just pretty much also, besides just personal preference, it just comes down to how you as a wrestling fan were brought up. So it's so unique, which I feel like it's always kind of cool though, where it's like, we're going to see it differently than 5 other countries' versions of wrestling, and it's just like, that's just the beauty of wrestling in general. But it also creates chaos like this, where some people think it's too far, other people think it's not far enough. So it's just kind of like, sure, why not?
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Sure, why not?
Yeah, just, I mean, MJF's always going to be MJF. He's always going to be an asshole. That's just his thing. I mean, granted, I think unfortunately we get so desensitized to it too, where it's just like, okay, well, he did the thing. Like, all right, that's MJF. It's not that it's not special. It's just we're just so used to it that it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. It's just MJF being MJF. Like,
pretty much.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like you said, it's the desensitized part of our brains, I guess. But at the end of the day, he's still an asshole. I think we can all agree on that one.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
All right, so we're gonna save that question actually to last, because that's gonna be our big talking point. So can we keep Corey Graves and Michael Cole together, please?
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing good on the commentary. It's like, it's funny what happens when you actually let him do his job, but I don't think that's going to happen though, because as long as I'm sure Michael Cole wants Pat McAfee, he's going to be there when he can. So,
right.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah. Corey's he's a great commentator.
Yeah, I always was a fan of Corey Graves, even when like the internet kind of, shits on him, and for some reason I was always a fan of Corey Graves. I am actually more of a fan of Corey Graves than I am of Pat McAfee, and I get why Pat McAfee is around. I don't dislike Pat McAfee. I just like the flow of the show better when it's Michael Cole and Corey Graves and they're talking about the wrestling and they're analyzing the wrestling and not trying to get jokes off.
Yeah, and they're not sitting there rambling on through somebody's entrance. I don't even remember whose it was. It was a couple weeks ago, or hell, it might have even been on the Money in the Bank paper. No, it was exactly Money in the Bank. It was Becky and Lyra's match, and Lyra's entrance. They talked through that entire entrance from start to finish, and it's like, would you guys shut the fuck up already and just let her make her entrance? It's distracting and it's obnoxious.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to describe Pat. It's just, he's obnoxious.
Yeah.
Some people love that. I'm more in the camp of you, or if I had to pick, I'd rather have Corey, because it's like, Corey can be funny. I mean, obviously he's not going to be as funny as Pat, but he can also be funny and not be obnoxious about it either.
Right.
So I'm sure we'd have like 10-year-olds yelling at us about how we're wrong and we don't know how to have fun, which is just like, whatever, like, sue me, I guess. But it's just, yeah, I like it more when it's Michael and Corey, but unfortunately, as long as people keep talking about Pat, he's going to keep coming back, whether we
I want
like
to
it
know
or not.
I hope everything is okay. Like they haven't
Yeah,
really.
it kind of just disappeared.
Yeah,
So
it's been 3 weeks already, so I hope everything is okay with Pat McAfee.
yeah, hopefully. I mean, he seems to keep doing his podcast, so it must not all be bad,
Oh,
but
okay,
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in my mind I'm just assuming he's doing his podcast. I mean, I don't personally watch it, but or listen to it, but who knows? But yeah, like you said, at the end of the day, I hope he's doing okay. But if it was going to be Corey for the foreseeable future, I wasn't really going to be upset about that.
for sure.
Oh, all right. So this one's for me. Um, am I going to Raw in Pittsburgh? If so, why or why not? Well, I can confidently say no, we're not going.
Oh, you're not going.
No, because here's the problem. I mean, it comes down to one very simple thing. When you have to pay over $100 to sit in the upper deck of the arena to watch this show, that's when it starts to get not worth it at that point, at least for us. Could we afford to go? Yes, I just don't feel like spending that kind of money sitting that high up for a TV taping. Like, I mean, obviously it's live, it's Raw, and apparently they're throwing SmackDown in there too. That's why it's apparently because I think they said it was like, oh, it starts at 6 o'clock next week instead of 8.
Right.
And I think that's because they're putting SmackDown on it too. So it's like a double taping, which I'm just like, sure, but I remember when you used to be able to get seats up in the upper level for like $45. So when you have to pay, I think the last I checked, it was like 125 for like
Wow.
halfway up the upper level, not even like dead center. Dead center is like 250 because you're in the prime seating position or whatever the hell they call it on Ticketmaster. But yeah, like literally halfway up that arena is over $100. So it's just like
Jesus.
that's not worth it at that point. And we also have our friends that always watch wrestling with us, and the problem is you already have that, and then you times that by 4 because it would be me, my 2 friends, and mom. So it's just not worth it. It's that, and it's just with all the shit going on, at least for me personally, it's very hard to try and stay enthusiastic about watching the product all day, every day, 24/7.
Yeah.
Obviously, I keep track enough to do the show and whatever. I mean, obviously, full transparency, but it's just the shit that they've been doing lately and just the stuff that's been going on. It's not really justifiable for me to spend money on it right now. So, no, I will not be there next week.
Yeah,
But
no, I don't blame you. Yeah, they're definitely pricing out the working man, the working person
yeah,
out of just general entertainment, you know.
yeah,
It's crazy. I understand supply and demand, but at one point is it like at what point do you make enough money? You
yeah,
know?
never,
Yeah, it's like
never enough.
it's never enough apparently. So it's mind-boggling to get priced out, you know, not being able to, just the everyday working person be able to afford decent seats to go see a Raw or SmackDown or a PLE or something like that. It's just way too tough, and I don't see it changing anytime soon.
No, they keep breaking records. They'll just keep looking at it on the whiteboard in the office and go, "See, we keep breaking records, so clearly they're going to spend the money."
Right.
It's just like,
That's supply and demand. As long as they keep
yeah,
spending the money, then you're gonna see it as a justifiable reason to raise the prices.
exactly. And until people actually catch on to that and go, "Okay, well, maybe we shouldn't feed into the machine and maybe they'll learn their lesson," which would they probably not, but still, it's just like you want to hit them in the wallet. That's the only way they're going to listen.
That is the only way.
But yeah, it's just yeah, it's unfortunately it's the money especially, but also money coupled with the fact of they're not really on my good side right now, so I feel like I'd rather not spend all of that money anyway to see that and go, yeah, it was entertaining, but it's still kind of like shitty what's been going on with everything, which I'm sure we'll be talking about some of that stuff later, but it's just like yeah, it just wasn't worth the money for us this
Yeah.
time around, but it happens. It'll be better on my TV. Let's put it that way, because that's free.
You'll be actually be able to see it.
Yeah, I'll be able to see it and not have it look like they're just the size of a grain of rice.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
you know what? Anybody that's going, have fun. I'll just say, you guys have fun. I'll enjoy it in my apartment. Okay, so Wardlow sends out a use me flare if Batista's too busy to be used in the next DC movie. Is that sad, or is it just a shine on Tony Khan's misuse?
I don't even know if he has the acting chops compared to like a Dave Batista. Do you think he could pull it off?
Given his character work in AEW, I would say no. He's never really been, oh, what's the way to put this? He's never been an let's say extremely compelling character.
Right.
Like he's good in the ring, he has a good look. He can talk on the mic a little bit, but it's not, again, like we're comparing apples to oranges on this one, but he's not like in the realm of Tony Storm where it's like, oh, well, I have to hear him talk because he's doing a promo segment next. It's just like, okay, I may or may not be paying attention, and money's on, I'm not going to really be paying attention. So it's not like he was setting the world on fire before he disappeared. So it's just kind of like, okay, sure, like you're a big guy and all, but trying to compare yourself to Batista of all people, it's like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
And now he's on the reboot of American Gladiators, so that's going to be less time on AEW programming. So really, it's just a matter of, I guess it is a shining spot on Tony Khan's misuse of Wardlow. But that's been ongoing. It's going to be a year like that. You know, I mean, at one point, do we stop holding on to bated breath that Wardlow is going to be something grand in AEW? I don't know. It's been a long time since we've seen him for no real reason, because he's not hurt. He's ready to work. He can go ahead and wrestle and everything. It's just there. He's just not on TV.
Yeah, and it's just tough because it's just that sad reality of not every wrestler is going to be compelling TV. Like, they're never going to, no matter how much promo work they do, no matter how much whatever storyline they're in, they're just never going to connect with the audience. Like, some can. Like, perfect example, Daniel Garcia.
Right.
Guy's great in the ring. Character is boring. Like, painfully boring. So it's just like,
I'm sure Michael will enjoy hearing that.
Yeah, it's a shame too, because it's like, it's not for lack of trying. They tried. It's just, sometimes it just doesn't translate, and no matter what they tried, it just would not translate for him. So it's a shame, because it's just like, he's a great wrestler. He just can't get that other aspect of the business down, which is a shame. But yeah, sometimes it's just not it. I guess that's the way to put it. Just not it sometimes. But you know what? At least Wardlow's on TV somehow. Just not wrestling. So there's that, I guess. Maybe this will bring a social media wave of bring him back on AEW.
We want Wardlow?
Yeah, maybe. That'll be the new Twitter hashtag, I guess. It'll sweep the world, but hey, maybe that might happen. Who knows? Maybe we just talked that into existence.
Maybe.
I highly doubt it. But it's, yeah, him and Camille are both in the same boat on that one.
Yeah.
We don't need to unload the clip on her again. I've done that enough. But not that she doesn't deserve it, but she fully deserves it. But it's fine. But yeah, it's just, I don't really see him coming back anytime soon. And that's just how it is.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's people that should, like Scorpio Sky. Like, how's Scorpio Sky not back? Like, that's one where you shake your head, where it's like, okay, the guy's got charisma, the guy's got talent. Why is he sitting and catering? And you mean to tell me, of all people, you have nothing for him? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. There's certain talent that's kind of, it's interesting to see what happens when talent is in the doghouse, you know, and when they ultimately get on the bad side of Tony Khan, so where they're not used like Camille and Wardlow and Scorpio Sky. Is like, Jesus, you really don't want to get, you thought Vince was bad, you really don't want to get on the bad side of this billionaire. It's like,
yeah, Brit too, unfortunately.
Yeah, Brit too.
It's just, yeah, it really is like they're in timeout. That's essentially, it's like indefinite timeout. Where it's like, you were a kid and you were bad, your parents put you in the corner, and okay, after like 5 minutes you can come back out, but you need to like think about what you did. Except he never told them you need to come out after this time. It's just you're staying here and you're gonna like it. And it's just, I think it kind of just after a while borders on petty. And we know he's petty. We've seen the shit he's done before. Like, the guy's petty. And it's very obvious that he still has not grown out of that because of all of this. It's just, it's a shame. Because you could at least be using some of them.
Right.
Like, but I don't know who or why they pissed him off or how they pissed him off, but clearly they did something, because yikes. It's a mess.
Yeah, it is.
Speaking of messes, so this is the last, Mike's last question, and I think the big talking point I'm sure people want us to go on about today. Should WWE have pulled Night of Champions back to the US due to the issues in the Middle East? Well, this one's a very simple question, but obviously we're going to go a little more in depth into it. The simple answer is, should they have? Absolutely. Were they going to? Fuck no. They were never gonna move that thing, and it makes me shake your head because it's not surprising that they weren't gonna change it, but it's also just like, that pretty much says a lot without saying anything, essentially. You didn't even have to put a statement out to get people talking about it.
Right.
Not in a good way. Yeah, it's just, this show's just kind of like what you said in our like little pre-production meeting. They'll take any kind of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's money talks, you know. That's basically the way it works. Is I think they, unless they were told by the government that the show can't happen, if they were still able to make it, if they were still able to have the transportation to make the show happen, they were going to make the show happen. If this is the thing, I'm not like, it's not for me, you know, like everybody else. The only reason I would say not to do the show is because of the prime location of Saudi Arabia is like right smack dab in the middle of the conflict between Israel and Iran. So it's like right in the middle. So you're like right in the danger zone. That's the only reason I would say don't do the show. It's not because I'm like joining the bandwagon or anything like that. It's just not a good idea to do the show. But apparently, I haven't been watching the news today, but apparently there's been a ceasefire, so everything is copacetic to the point where there should be no issues having the show. It's just, yeah, exactly. It's so weird.
Very convenient.
It's so weird how like they waited and waited and waited, and everybody's like, how can they wait? Look at what's going on, and then all of a sudden it stops.
Yeah, it's
just so crazy. Like the world is so crazy. The world,
money talks no matter. No, go ahead.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Money talks in this situation, and Saudi paid a lot of money for their WWE entertainment, and by God, they want their WWE entertainment.
Yeah, it's just that sad reality of, at the end of the day, money's always going to talk, no matter how much blood's covered.
Yep.
On that money. But you know, the bloodier the better for some people, I guess, but it just is what it is. So anyways, so that was all of Mike's questions. So thank you as always.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, so that was all of the questions, I believe. So now we get to go back to the Blood Money pay-per-view, because we have some predictions we need to dole out. But I must say, we were kind of talking about this before we went on air. Why is it called Night of Champions when there's only 2 title matches? Because last I checked, back in the day, Night of Champions meant every single solitary belt was going to be defended. Now, what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess everybody is a champion on that night, and that's the way that
Everyone gets the participation trophy.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's the way I mean, and the thing is, the SmackDown before Night of Champions on Friday is actually nuts. Like, there's so many title matches on that show in itself. It's like, damn, you figure, why weren't these on the card for Night of Champions? Why is it on SmackDown? But
yeah,
I guess it's Night of Champions weekend.
I guess it's a semi 2-part show.
I guess
nothing about it really makes any sense. But you know what? Whatever. It's just is what it is. So I have the Wikipedia pulled up if you want me to do my thing, I guess.
Sure.
Try to take your job. I'll give you a break for the episode. So so we could just go in order, I guess, because yeah, we'll just go in order from bottom to top. So we'll start off with a match that I didn't think we were going to end up seeing, and I'm kind of glad we are, because we've been singing the praises of this guy for a very long time now, so I'm glad that he's finally getting some recognition.
Right.
It's Karrion Kross taking on Sami Zayn, and this is Karrion's first one-on-one pay-per-view match since 2022.
Wow.
It has been almost 3 years. They said it was Crown Jewel against Drew McIntyre was his last one-on-one pay-per-view match, and his first pay-per-view match since the street fight at WrestleMania 40. So Mom and I got to see his last pay-per-view match over a year ago.
Wow.
Which is sad, but I'm just glad that they're somewhat listening to the fans, because we've been clamoring for them to do, I don't know, anything with Karrion and Scarlett at this point. So
right.
I'm glad that they're finally doing something. It's just about time. It's about time. Like, he's been underrated and overlooked for so long, but I'm just glad that they just can't really ignore him anymore, as they shouldn't, because the guy's great. I did find this hilarious. I did see somewhere online that they were kind of like shitting on the fact that, well, yeah, he can talk, but he can't wrestle. And
the back bumping thing.
It's like, you're talking about the same guy that can snap a baseball bat with his leg, and you mean to tell me the guy doesn't have any type of ability whatsoever? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much of the theory is true, because I mean, I can't, I wouldn't go back and try to watch every single Karrion Kross match to see if he can take a back bump, but the idea that he is physically incapable of taking a back bump is just so crazy to me in professional wrestling. So I don't know, I'm gonna be watching his match with Sami Zayn definitely very closely to see how that goes. For me, honestly, I think that this is a time that if they're really high on him, or if they're at least seeing that the wrestling community is really high on him, that they will give him the win. Because I feel like in this case, the win can really help him, and a loss really wouldn't help Sami Zayn. It'll probably seem like it makes more sense with Sami Zayn to take the loss, because that's the kind of guy that Sami Zayn is. He kind of fights from underneath, and he has to take a couple L's before he gets a win. So I'm kind of seeing Karrion Kross getting the win on this one. What about you?
I would agree, because I feel like they can play off of that a little more if Sammy loses, because Karrion can be like, see, I told you so. You can't do it. You can't, because he's been poking at him for weeks now. So he could just up the ante at this point if he beats him, because it's just like, see, I told you, dude, you can't get it done. Like, you're not championship material. And I mean, granted, it's going to be another like underdog story for Sammy, but like you said, he just fits that character so well that it would be very weird to see him always get the upper hand on people. So I wouldn't be surprised if like Scarlett gets involved or something, and kind of helps Karrion get the win. But yeah, I feel like you gotta. It'll be very telling who wins this match. I would like to think Karrion's gonna win as, I don't want to say a reward, but just kind of like the hard work for both the fans and him pays off. And hopefully somewhere down the line it leads to something. But if Sami wins, then that just goes to show you that they were just giving us lip service, and it was just like, okay, well, he got his match, you can shut up now.
Yeah. I hope that's not.
Go over very well.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case.
Oh, I hope not. But because if you thought that people were behind him now, just imagine what would happen if he loses. It's going to get a lot worse for them. So maybe just, don't piss the fans off more than you already have. Because trust me, you're really stirred the hornet's nest up the last week or so. But yeah, I feel like Karrion's got to win this one, hopefully.
Yep, I'm going with Karrion as well.
All right. Are you writing these down?
Yep.
No collusion.
No collusion.
I mean, and anyway, my belt's very nice on my dresser.
Hey, now. No need for the trash talk.
We'll trash talk in the DMs. It's fine. All right. So now we have a match that was made official on Raw this past week. It is Rhea Ripley taking on Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight, because why the hell not? That's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun.
I want to see how they're able to do a street fight in that environment, because again, they're in Saudi Arabia. I don't think Saudi Arabia has ever had like a street fight gimmick match for one of these shows. So it's going to be interesting how they do it. I think Raquel sneakily has been getting very good. I think she deserves a little bit of credit. I think some her matches as of late, especially in the tag sense, have been very good. And Monday was very interesting as well to see her get that upper hand and put Rhea through the table. So I think they have a lot of faith in Raquel. And like you said, I think this match is gonna be fun. Like her run in NXT wasn't that bad. Not to me, not that I can remember. It wasn't it wasn't knock your socks off, but it wasn't that bad. So I think that now that Liv is kind of on the shelf and Raquel's kind of in limbo, this will be a good chance for Raquel to come out and shine. Now I don't think she's gonna get the win. I think Rhea's still gonna win the match because Rhea's too hot of a commodity right now. But I'm just looking forward to a good match. That's all I want.
Yeah, I found it funny when you were saying that Raquel's run in NXT wasn't bad. I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you were a Dakota fan, it was terrible, but it just be like that sometimes.
I'll never forget when they stuffed Dakota in that locker during that match in NXT.
Yeah.
Oh,
she went through a lot. Those are the days. Those are the fun days. Anyway, yeah, she's definitely been getting better. I'll at least give her credit. She's still not my favorite, and I'm still not gonna actively cheer for her, but I can at least admit she's not just standing there and has the personality of a piece of toast anymore. But, that helps. Yeah, I feel like Rhea's gonna win too, because again, I don't really see the point in Raquel winning, because I have kind of a hunch that maybe Roxanne Perez kind of sticks her nose in here at some point, maybe.
Ooh.
Because she's been kind of, hanging around the Judgment Day a lot lately.
Oh, so you're going with Roxanne. Is that your what do you call it? If there's a tiebreaker situation, is that your prediction that Roxanne might get involved?
Well, we'll see. We'll see if we need to get the tiebreaker out, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. But yeah, I think. Yeah, I feel like either way, regardless of how it happens, Rhea's gonna win. It's Rhea, and I can't wait for everyone on Twitter to get pissed because of course Rhea won, and it's just like, well, yeah, of course she's your most popular superstar, but yeah, how dare the most popular person on your roster win? Like, how dare they?
And you can't deny that she's the most popular, because when her music hits, man, the reaction that she gets in the arena, the roof blows off the place.
Yeah, they always have the decibel meter on her entrance for a reason, guys. It's again, it's just like, how do we hold your hands and tell you this in the possible? They don't fucking care about what you say on Twitter. They don't.
You're not the paying customer.
And guess what? Even if you are the paying customer and you're sitting there booing her, there's 9,999 other people in that stadium that are not
Yeah.
booing her. So you are irrelevant when it comes to that opinion.
Yeah.
So that just sucks for you, I guess. But all right, so we both got Rhea winning the street fight.
Yep.
Ready? So now we're on to our first actual title match at Night of Champions. It's shocking, I know. It is for the WWE United States Championship. We got Jacob Fatu defending the title against Solo Sikoa, which we knew this was happening at some point. I think we kind of had hoped it was going to be SummerSlam, but you know what? Why the hell not? I still think this is going to be a really, really good match.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm just like I kind of like, how do I explain it? I was a little bit worried because I'm enjoying Solo Sikoa. I'm becoming a fan of Solo Sikoa. But without this whole situation with the bloodline, he's kind of in limbo. You don't know what direction they're really going with Solo Sikoa. But I'm glad that they're able to pull this off and actually give him a run at this, because he is very entertaining. And I feel like he's just coming into his own. Like, he's just becoming very comfortable in being himself and being Solo Sikoa. So I'm really glad that they were able to put this plan in motion to give him something to keep him relevant. I don't see him winning. I think Jacob Fatu is way too popular, and I think they want to see more of what Jacob Fatu can do as a babyface, because him as a babyface elevates the United States title, which it desperately needs.
Yeah, I completely agree. It just doesn't make sense to have him drop this title yet. I mean, obviously he's got a ways to go with this. Like, there's no way that he's losing this title anytime soon. He's just that good. And yeah, it's just a shame that poor Solo has to lose again, because he's funny. It's like, it's funny what happens when you actually let him have a personality. It's like, he's hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
and he's sneaky hilarious too. He's not that wacky, like, over the top kind of comedic relief guy. It's that kind of like sneaky, like, I see what you're doing there.
Right.
Being slick kind of humor. So it's like, I can appreciate that. And it's just a shame that this is when he's finally like letting it show. Like, if he would have had this back on like the whole bloodline thing, this would have been perfect. Like, his stuff would have been much more compelling and people would have been a little more interested in it, it's just sad that the timing just never, happened the way it did. But either way, this should be a really good match. It's definitely going to hurt a lot, especially with these two. There's going to be some painful little spots here and there, but I also have to agree that Jacob Fatu is not losing that title, not anytime soon.
Yeah, I definitely don't think so. I think Jacob Fatu is the way to go.
Yeah, I completely agree on that one. Alrighty, so now we got, for the undisputed WWE Championship, we have the match to end all matches. We got John Cena defending the title against CM Punk. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is the match that I'm looking forward to the most. This is one of my favorite rivalries in all of WWE history. I think even the video package that they showed on Raw was a perfect synopsis of everything that is happening between John Cena and CM Punk leading up to now. I'm just really looking forward to the match. I mean, I don't see John Cena losing. I don't see him losing. I think will he cheat again? He's all of his matches he's cheated to win. So will he keep that streak up? I think if our predictions stay tied up the way they are, going the same way, I think that's my one prediction, that he will cheat to win again against CM Punk.
See, I feel like we may have to like make that a little more specific, because I could see it happening in a way of like, he goes to win the same way he's won every single time before, which is the low blow, hit him with the belt, whatever, and Punk like catches him. And then Punk's like, yeah, no, you're not doing that this time. And Cena's like, oh no, I've been caught. Oh, woe is me. Finds another way to cheat. So maybe we'll have to make that a little more specific going into the tiebreaker. Because let's be honest, we might. Who knows? These next two matches might split us for a minute. But yeah, Cena's not losing, not yet. Maybe they'll be revisiting this, and that's when Punk wins it. But for right now, they're gonna keep going with Cena. It's just gonna be a little interesting to see where they go next with him, and also how that match ends. Because if it's the same as it's been the last few, I think people are gonna be a little upset about that.
Of course, they need something to complain about.
Yeah, I mean that's just wrestling fans in general online. You got to complain about something, or else we're not living. So.
Yep.
But yeah, I also agree Cena's keeping that title. So far, as usual, we are 4 for 4 in our predictions.
Yep.
However, I feel like perhaps this one might be the one that we split on, perhaps. It is the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament. So, just like the King of the Ring, whoever wins this match is the Queen of the Ring and gets a match for the respective brands' World Championship at SummerSlam. So we get a title shot at SummerSlam for the winner, the whole Queen of the Ring, the scepter, the whatever, the crown, who cares? It disappears after a few weeks anyway, so it is what it is. So we have Asuka taking on Jade Cargill.
All right, so I've been saying for the longest time, this is my prediction. All right, like you said, the winner of this match gets a world title shot at SummerSlam for their respective brand against the respective brand's champion. I honestly think Jade Cargill is going to win. She's going to go on to SummerSlam, win the world title against her respective champion, but then Naomi is going to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase and ruin Jade Cargill's moment being her first championship. That's what?
Yeah, that's really tough to argue with because the problem is you can see the argument for Asuka.
Right.
Because she's never, let's be honest, she's never really got her just due in WWE. It's always been very hot, cold, stop, start. There's always been really weird booking decisions with her. I really don't know why, because she has been one of the best women's wrestlers on that entire roster for the entirety she's been here, which is just wild to me. But
and you got to factor in Io versus Asuka would be very compelling as well.
That's my problem too, because it's just like, are they gonna go that route because they could have Naomi like the briefcase for a while and Jade somehow finds her way to oh, this sucks. Because I mean, well, let's be completely honest. I don't think they fucking know what they're doing with Tiffany Stratton right now, because for whatever reason we had to revisit Nia Jax and her for some reason that I really can't understand, because it's just like, you mean to tell me you guys had no other option, that you had to go back to Nia Jax? But whatever. Oh fuck, this is this is so tough, because yeah, you could see it either way, but because on one hand, Asuka and Io would be a really good match, but I feel like Asuka doesn't need to win the Queen of the Ring to get that match. I feel like that could just happen naturally in a backstage segment or something. Right. On its own,
they already know that's money.
Yeah, they've talked about it on the backstage segments too, where it's like, oh yeah, it could just be like the old Damage Control days, and Asuka's like, yeah, Damage Control is no more. I'm like, I mean, you didn't have to stab me like that, but okay, like, have to remind me that it's dead, but it's fine. So I feel like they've kind of already like planted that seed where it's like, okay, they both know that this is a money match that really is like the more ideal match between the two that could potentially happen. However, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't need to happen because Asuka wins Queen of the Ring. I feel like it can just happen by itself. Well, I thought this was going to split us, but apparently it is not, because yeah, I like your scenario more with Jade, because I feel like that's a little more realistic of like, okay, well, that's her path if she wins Queen of the Ring. If she doesn't win Queen of the Ring, what is she doing now?
Right,
Like,
right. That's another question.
I don't really see. I mean, I'm sure there's something I'm not thinking of right now that I'm sure somebody would correct me on, but it's just like if Jade loses this, then it's just okay. Well, where do we go from here? She doesn't go back to Naomi, and I don't know, she's sure as hell not going near Tiffany anytime soon because she just lost. So yeah, I feel like Asuka doesn't need to win this to have something to do after this, but Jade needs to win this, I think, more. So, screw it. We're gonna go with Jade.
All right, we're still tied up in the predictions.
Oh, 5 for 5. I don't even know about this next one, but we'll see. So so now we got the King of the Ring finals.
Yeah.
And again, they also receive a title shot at SummerSlam. It is Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes.
I am going Cody. I think Cody versus Cena 2 at SummerSlam is the more intriguing match, and I really don't have a prediction as to how that is going to go. I just know that my prediction lies in Cody defeating Randy Orton, sort of the protege defeating his mentor, and Cody going on to SummerSlam to take on John Cena again for the Undisputed Championship. I'm going with Cody Rhodes to win.
Yeah, that one's a little easier than Asuka and Jade because it's not like Asuka or Jade had just come off of a title match a couple months ago. It's Randy already did that. He and Cena already had the match, so it's kind of don't really need to see it again. I mean, it was good. It was just very convoluted with all the ending shit, if we want to call it that. I don't even know what to say about it, but yeah, I don't really think Randy needs this. I feel like Cody needs it more. Like you said, Cody and Cena at SummerSlam again. That's the more compelling matchup as opposed to like Orton and Cena. So yeah. Why not? Let's just go 6 for 6. I'll say Cody too.
Cody.
So now we got. All right, so all of us, all 6 of these matches, so we both got Karrion Kross, both have Rhea Ripley, both have Jacob Fatu, John Cena, Jade Cargill, and Cody Rhodes. So we are 6 for 6, shockingly, on our predictions. So that means we got to break.
Right. I am going to take the easy route in this one and say that John Cena cheats to win. Now, you want me to be specific in how he cheats to win?
Yeah, because I feel like cheating's a very broad term. I gotta shorten that a little bit.
All right. So I think he's going to use the WWE Undisputed title during the match when the referee is not looking, and he's going to crack CM Punk across the head with the title.
So he's going to do the same thing he's done the last however many matches.
Pretty much.
Great, because that's exactly what we want to see again, is the same thing over and over again.
Hey, he said he was going to ruin wrestling.
Well, I mean, never mind. That's a topic for that's a whole other can of worms for another day. We're almost done. All right, so that's fair. I'll just go with what we said with the street fight. I'm gonna say that Roxanne gets involved somehow, some way, and costs Raquel the street fight, because I feel like it's just she's been hanging around the Judgment Day too much, and it's kind of getting a little shifty there, or it's just like you're kind of just expecting her to do something at this point, and I feel like this might be the time to do it if she's gonna do something. So I'll go with that.
So you say she's gonna cost Raquel the win?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay, right. I'm writing it down so I don't forget. And there's no collusion. No collusion.
No nothing.
I'm writing it down. It is written down. Our tiebreaker scenarios are this. Mine is John Cena will use the WWE Undisputed title belt to cheat, and Roxanne gets involved. This is yours, by the way. Yours is Roxanne will get involved in the street fight between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez and cost Raquel the win.
Yeah, that's about right.
All right.
We'll see.
We got them all.
watch neither one of those scenarios actually happens, and we both just like on the bright side, we both stay perfect. We'd be 6 or 6. So,
you're just saying that to keep your title. That's all it is.
Hey, I mean, if we go 6 or 6, I'm okay with it. I get to. I'll keep it nice and shiny.
You just want to keep the title. That's all.
It says the one who had it for what 5 pay-per-views straight, so you'll be fine.
I know.
You'll be fine. Don't worry about
I know it misses me. It's coming home. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, okay, we'll see. We'll see about that.
This Saturday, it's coming home, baby. Night of Champions. I will be a champion once again.
All right, we'll see about that. But anyway, after all of that and all those predictions and questions and tiebreakers and things, we are done. We did everything.
Wow. Well, what an episode. This episode is chock full with stuff. I mean, we got stuff from WWE in there. We got stuff from AEW in there. And we got Night of Champions predictions in there. It's a pretty good episode, I must say myself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. We're just that good. What can we say? But, nah. We're not those people, trust me. We don't have egos like that, believe me. Anxiety and self-consciousness does not mix well with egos. So we're good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, this podcast is available all across the board on the internet on all podcast platforms. All you have to do is search Ringside Rundown and hit the follow or subscribe button, whatever the platform asks of you, and you will never miss another episode of the Ringside Rundown. We usually drop an episode every week on Wednesday morning, so definitely check that out. If you need the podcast on a specific platform, DM us a message on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at Ringside Rundown. Let us know what platform you use, and we will get you an episode of the podcast on that platform on a silver platter. But the caveat is that you have to give us back the silver platter because it belongs to Shay's mom, and she doesn't play about her silver platter. She actually she trained Nia Jax to be a certified monster, so I wouldn't mess with Shay's mom. She'll drop you with an annihilator.
She will. And it's not a pretty sight, trust me.
It's not a pretty sight at all. But make sure you get the silver platter back to us, and it'll be on the platform where you're choosing. If you don't have a specific platform, it's always available on our YouTube channel at Ringside Run Pod on YouTube. YouTube.com/@Ringside Run Pod has all the episodes of the Ringside Rundown podcast along with short form content. Make sure that you come hang out with me, whether it be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Saturdays. I'm live on Twitch doing watch-alongs of Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite, Friday Night SmackDown. NXT is on Saturday because obviously we can't watch NXT because we're recording the podcast. So we watch it on Saturday along with AEW Collision, unless, like this week, there is a WWE PLE that will take over. So this Saturday we'll be watching Night of Champions. I'll be on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ringside Rundown. Please come through and join all the fun. It's a blast when we do these live watch alongs. I love doing it and meeting other wrestling fans, so please come hang out. And Shay, where can they get in touch with you?
You can find me on Twitter at the new Twitter account, Shay Ringside _ just like Erik's, where you gotta stay on brand.
Yeah. She took my gimmick, so make sure you follow her on Twitter for all your wrestling content. Shay Ringside _ yeah, gimmick thief.
I had to we had to match.
Yeah,
we matched.
It makes sense.
We matched with everything else. You know what? Why not match with the username?
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. So make sure, make sure you go give her a follow. She definitely deserves your follow on Twitter. So therefore, I think we're done. We got all the plugins and everything, and all the promotions in, along with all the content. I think it's time for us to get out of here.
Yeah, let's go turn the air conditioning on. It's still hot here. So,
there you go.
Yeah, hopefully everybody's staying cool out there.
For sure.
Oh my God.
Yeah, drink your water, stay hydrated. For Shay Hickson, my name is Erik Vasquez, and we'll talk to you on the next episode of the Ringside Rundown. Take care, guys.
See you later, guys.